Your hands are already moving before you even think about it. You lace your fingers together, curl them back, and then crack. That sound, that deep, hollow pop that ripples through the room and makes the person next to you wince. You feel the release, a small wave of pressure lifting off the joint. You do it to the next finger, then the next. It takes maybe 10 seconds. You have done it 1,000 times. You will do it again tomorrow. But right now, deep inside your knuckle, something is happening that you cannot feel. Something that has been building for years. And by the time you notice it, it will be too late to undo. To understand what cracking your knuckles actually does, you need to understand what a knuckle is. Your finger joints, the ones you crack, are called metacarpophalangeal joints. Each one is a small capsule, sealed tight, filled with a slippery liquid called synovial fluid. That fluid is the reason your fingers can move at all. It cushions the bones, reduces friction, and carries nutrients to the cartilage that lines each joint. Cartilage is the smooth, white tissue that stops bone grinding against bone. It has no blood supply of its own. It depends entirely on that synovial fluid to stay alive and healthy. Your hands are extraordinary machines. 27 bones, 29 joints, more than 100 ligaments and tendons, all working in perfect coordination. You use them for almost everything: typing, gripping, holding someone's hand, cooking a meal. Most people never think about them until something goes wrong. And that is the problem. The damage that builds up inside a joint does not announce itself. It arrives quietly, over years, until one morning you reach for your coffee cup and your fingers feel stiff in a way that was not there before. Here is where the story turns. When you crack your knuckle, you are pulling the joint apart, stretching that sealed capsule. The pressure inside drops suddenly. The dissolved gases in the synovial fluid, mostly carbon dioxide, nitrogen, and oxygen, come out of solution in an instant. They form a bubble. That bubble collapses. That collapse is the crack you hear. Scientists confirmed this in 2015 when a team at the University of Alberta used real-time MRI to watch it happen live inside a knuckle. The pop is a bubble forming and bursting in under 3 milliseconds. Now here is where people disagree. For decades, doctors said it was harmless. They pointed to studies. They pointed to the fact that cracking does not cause arthritis, a claim backed by research, including one remarkable study by a California doctor named Donald Unger, who cracked the knuckles on only his left hand every day for 60 years, leaving his right hand alone as a control. At the end, both hands looked identical. No arthritis. He won an Ig Nobel Prize for it in 2009. So you exhale, you feel better, you keep cracking. But here is what those studies did not look at closely enough. A 1990 study, published in the Annals of the Rheumatic Diseases, examined 300 habitual knuckle crackers and found something the arthritis headlines buried. The people who cracked their knuckles every day were more likely to have swollen hands. They had measurably weaker grip strength than the non-crackers. Not crippled, not in pain, just quietly, steadily weaker. For decades, doctors said it was harmless. They pointed to studies. They pointed to the fact that cracking does not cause arthritis, a claim backed by research, including one remarkable study by a California doctor named Donald Unger, who cracked the knuckles on only his left hand every day for 60 years, leaving his right hand alone as a control. At the end, both hands looked identical. No arthritis. He won an Ig Nobel Prize for it in 2009. So you exhale, you feel better, you keep cracking. But here is what those studies did not look at closely enough. A 1990 study, published in the Annals of the Rheumatic Diseases, examined 300 habitual knuckle crackers and found something the arthritis headlines buried. The people who cracked their knuckles every day were more likely to have swollen hands. They had measurably weaker grip strength than the non-crackers. Not crippled, not in pain, just quietly, steadily weaker, year by year. The kind of loss you explain away as getting older, as tiredness, as nothing serious. Do it once, the joint recovers fully. The bubble reforms over 15 to 20 minutes as gas dissolves back into the fluid. Do it every day for a decade, and the story changes. The repeated stretching of the joint capsule causes the soft tissue around the joint to loosen. The ligaments, the strong bands that hold everything in place, begin to slacken. This is not dramatic, there is no alarm, but the scaffolding that keeps your joint stable is slowly, silently being worn down. You do not feel it yet. You will not feel it for years. Here is the part no one sees coming: the cartilage. Remember, it has no blood supply. It feeds entirely on that synovial fluid. And what happens to the fluid when a bubble bursts inside it? The collapse of that bubble sends a tiny shock wave through the joint. Tiny, almost nothing. Once. But you have done this every day for 20 years. That is roughly 7,000 sessions, tens of thousands of individual pops across all 10 fingers. The cumulative force on the cartilage, the surface that has no way to repair itself from the outside, adds up in a way no single pop ever could. A 2011 study found that repeated cavitation, the scientific word for what happens when that bubble forms and collapses, causes measurable stress on joint surfaces over time. The cartilage does not shatter, it wears, it thins, and thinned cartilage does not grow back. Once it is gone, the bones underneath begin to change shape to compensate. Small, bony growths can form at the joint edges. The joint starts to feel different. Not painful at first, just thick, stiff in the mornings, achy in the cold. That is not arthritis from cracking, but it is joint degradation, a slow, grinding erosion that cracking almost certainly accelerates in people who are already vulnerable. And if your job requires fine motor control, surgery, music, precise craft work, that gradual loss of grip strength and joint stability is not nothing. It is everything. So, what can you do? First, and this will sound obvious, stop, or at least cut back dramatically. The joint capsule can recover significant elasticity when the repeated stretching stops. Ligaments do not bounce back to perfect, but they stabilize. The synovial fluid, no longer being disrupted multiple times a day, can do its job properly again. Second, strengthen the muscles around your hands. Grip exercises, resistance putty, even just squeezing a tennis ball for 5 minutes a day builds the muscular support that compensates for any ligament laxity that is already developed. Physical therapists use these exact tools to help people recovering from hand injuries, and they work. Third, stay warm. Cold thickens synovial fluid and makes joints feel stiffer, which is often why people crack more in cold weather. That urge to crack is actually a signal to warm up and move the joint gently, not to force it. Real people have done this. Musicians who cracked compulsively and noticed early stiffness have reversed their symptoms within months of stopping, combined with targeted hand therapy. The body wants to heal. It just needs you to stop hitting it with a tiny hammer 7,000 times. Donald Unger cracked one hand for 60 years and saw no difference. But Donald Unger was one person, and his hands were not under stress, cold, injured, or genetically vulnerable. Your hands are not a controlled experiment. They're the only ones you'll ever have. So the next time you feel that familiar urge, the pressure building, the fingers lacing together, remember what is actually happening in there. A bubble bursting against the one surface in your body that cannot grow back. That pop is not relief. It is a countdown.